All right, so good morning or good afternoon. Well, we'll just say good day to you. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'm the host of this webinar. We do this once a week for our health. We call this the Health Coach Huddle Up, and we do this every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. That would be noon Eastern. And this webinar is, we do a couple things on here. One, we like to have a healthy community to get to know other people. We feel like this journey of optimizing our health is a long-term journey. And bless you, Kit.
Thank you. That was terrible.
It's just during my intro. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, so the first section, usually the first 5 minutes or so, we'll introduce folks that are guests that haven't been on before, and then we have a segment called Take Shape for Life University, and it's really where we go and listen to a support call. We review one of the support calls, so we have guests come on and a variety of different people that will review the calls, and we get to learn something new about health or maybe refresh something. A lot of us will listen to these weekly support calls or the podcasts. Reason why we do a review is just because I've listened to it doesn't mean the same thing stood out to me that did to you. And so it's always nice to get another perspective, have a little discussion. And then the second segment, which will be at the bottom of the hour, we'll have usually a coach's training segment. So that's what we're going to do there. And I am going to hit mute all for now. And then we are going to bring on our first guest introductions. So if you are a guest, first time on, what I'll have you do is, if you're new to Zoom, is go down to the bottom left corner, and there's a little microphone, whether you're on an iPad or an iPhone or a computer, and you'll have to unmute yourself. And when I usually ask for answers, or I usually ask for feedback, you have the ability to actually raise your hand. And if you click on participants, no, is that where it's at? Participants? Yeah, I think it's under participants. You can actually raise your hand, or when you're on a iPhone or iPad or something like that, click on the screen. You can click on chat, and then you can click on raise hand. But anyway, so who we have we have one guest, I know for sure. And so it looks like his name is Wesley Bergin. Wes Bergin. So Wes, why don't you unmute yourself? Tell us where you're from, who invited you, and maybe a little something about your health journey. Oh, got to unmute yourself. Do you know how to do that? Okay. He said, I'm trying to
figure out the participant to remove that screen now again. Do I click the down arrow that gets rid of it?
Which screen?
Oh, close, minimize, never mind.
You got it.
How do I get rid of the screen on the right? I just clicked participate, and now I have a whole screen on my right that I want to get rid of.
Oh, click it again. Click participants again.
Okay. Okay. I did, and it's still there.
Oh.
I want to get rid of it. Close. Oh,
yeah.
There it is.
Try just hitting close. There you go.
Now I got to drag the screen. Hold on. Sorry.
If you double click on the screen, it'll go full screen.
Right on your face, you mean?
Yeah, on my face or Linda's.
Whoa. There it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry, everybody. And hi, I'm Wes Bergin. I'm here in Palm Harbor, Florida. And sorry I'm in this reclined lazy boy position, but it makes me look interesting. I don't have a desk because I have two teenagers, and 16 and 13, and the room that I would put my desk in is full of 3 high schoolers right now playing video games. And that's like a constant revolving door in our house, is teenagers in that room eating our food and playing video games. So
nice.
Yeah. So it's constant drama around our house having kids here. That's why I hid myself in the back room and got on my reclining chair.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you know me, and very little bit about how you know me, or who invited you. Okay, I invited him, whatever.
Craig invited me.
Yep. And then your a little bit of your journey here, what we're working on, and some of your successes you've had.
I just started on my health journey. Is that what it's called? The health journey?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You started the 5-in-1 specifically.
Habits of Health journey.
Yep.
I'm just starting to read the book with my wife, and I have been on this journey for almost 4 weeks now. So for the first month. And so I've lost about 10 pounds. I weighed myself yesterday, and it's about nine pounds in. So I was fine tuning. I had been losing weight the last year and a half, but not being able to really jumpstart it where I wanted it to go. Like I had lost a little bit over a year and a half, but I wanted to lose more, like an extra 10 or 15, and I just couldn't get that extra 10 or 15 off. And so working with Craig, I've been able to get 10 of it off. So in 1 month, which has been amazing to see the dramatic change in how my shorts fit. And the guy in the mirror. Oh, yesterday I went to the gym. Like, I've been bike riding and not going to the gym for like a year because I just bike ride 5 days a week. Because
He's a hand cyclist, by the way, for those of you that
I hand cycle. And I'm on a racing team, so that's my full-time job where I train every day biking. So I just wanted to get that extra weight off so I can go faster. And so I went to the gym for the first time yesterday. I looked at the guy in the mirror and I was like, that's not what I usually see in the mirror in the gym. I like to look away from that guy because sitting in a wheelchair, your stomach just sits out there on top of your shorts or whatever and pushes out on your t-shirt. I'm like, wow. And I was starting to look, my stomach was more disappearing and my shirt was going more straight down. And I was like, whoa, my shirt goes straight down. I haven't seen that for a long time. So basically Craig brought me here and I've been seeing results.
Yeah. Wes is one of the guys, you guys know about my Zoom workouts, garage training workouts. And Wes is one of the guys that started to join us. I've known Wes for probably 22 years or something. So remember, I don't know if I told you, Wes, but the story of I had a couple that were reading the Habits of Health book together, and it was part of their quiet time together as a couple. And I suggested that for you and Laura Lynn, Linda and Jay. So Linda's on the meeting today, and so her and Jay, her husband, did that, and that was their quiet time together. So anyway, any other guests? I know, Daniela, you're not a guest, but welcome back. I know you told me you were rearranging your schedule to make it again. So excellent. So what we're going to do then is we've got two calls we're going to review. Wes did the Habits of Health call, and Kit is going to review the nurses call. And so why don't we have you jump right into it, 3 to 4 minutes. Taken away. One of the things, I'm just going to give a little instructions. When you're asked as a favor to cover one of the calls, there's a dual role there. One is we have people that listen to one of the support calls for the first time ever because we asked them to do it. So think about that, because a lot of us have clients. Well, why not asking one of your clients to review it? If they say no, that's okay. They might say yes. And so think about that, because that can not only benefit you or us, but it could benefit them too. Last week we had Ken that was on, and he reviewed the call. He had never listened to a support call yet, and he loved it. He actually said he wants to come back and do it again. And so I told him that he could still listen to those support calls even if he's not reviewing it for us. But that's one thing that happens. And then the other thing that we get to learn something that we may not have stood out to us when we were listening to it, but when somebody else is doing the review. So we want to do something that I call it noteworthy, worthy of taking a note, and why that was noteworthy. So it's the noteworthy item and why to you it was noteworthy, because we could all go in and regurgitate what the call was about if we all just listened to it. So we're looking at more the noteworthy thing, and then what stood out to you personally and why that was noteworthy. So welcome, Wes. What was the date of the call? Do you have the date and the host?
It was this the 31st
Okay.
of this last month. It's the first already, right?
It is. It's the second today.
Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, the 31st, last Wednesday night's webinar. What is it called? A webinar?
Yeah, they're called webinars now.
The webinar I listened to was my first one, by the way, and I've only been a couple chapters into the book, so this is all new. So I'm glad I'm just getting thrown into the deep end here, but it's good. It's good for me, and hopefully beneficial to everybody else. Well, I really enjoyed it because it talked about activity versus exercise and the mentality that I know. Well, I signed up to race for a living, so I exercise all the time, but I can think of it as grueling just like anybody else. And so I liked it. Talked about movement and activity versus and planned activity versus exercise, and the idea of just going to the gym to try to make the person in the mirror change and lose weight is not as effective as just planning movement into your life and exercise. And I like that because anybody can plan like 20 minutes 3 times a week was one of the examples. And so I can do that. I can schedule that into my time more. It's more doable than thinking I got to work out so hard so that every time I go in the mirror I can see results. Because we all know on this Take Shape for Life plan that it seems like 80% is diet and 20% is that exercise. So if you're just working out or joining a gym to change that person in the mirror, I think you're going to get discouraged. And that's what the webinar talked about. And I thought that was really helpful. Just getting movement into your life, like walking the dog, going on a paddleboard ride, or just being able to go on a bike ride with friends and not feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, was one of the main things, is just thinking about it as activity versus exercise, which was really helpful. And the other one was Craig gave an idea of car maintenance. And I love this, and I'm going to apply this to my life. It really was applicable, thinking of like maintaining your car so that if somebody says, hey, let's drive to Disneyland, you can drive them and not feel like you're going to break down, or drive across country with your family and your health is the same. And I just really love the analogy because analogies stick with me and I can remember it and then retell it to somebody else. When you think about, the little things you do every day, tire pressure in your car, oil changes, all the regular maintenance so that you can use your car when it's time to use it. It was really beneficial to think like, hey, what if there was a marathon this weekend? Or what if I had a 10-year high school reunion and I wanted to go and not feel self-conscious? I would already, if I was doing the maintenance all year, I wouldn't have to worry about my high school reunion or feeling like I'm overweight. The saddest thing I heard at our 10-year reunion was one lady decided not to go because she was overweight and she just didn't go. And I felt sad because I wanted to see that person and I could look past her weight, but she couldn't. So I want to think about my health in that way, where I can just go to the beach if I want, or go on a bike ride with friends if I want, and not feel like I have to work really hard and train really hard so I can, do something like that. And another thing was thinking about how exercise can become entertainment and fun. Like I love golfing and kayaking and biking with my wife and walking the dog with my wife. But in a wheelchair, it's harder for me to walk a couple miles at the pace my wife does. But now that I've been on this program, I think, heck, that I'm lighter, it's easier to roll in the wheelchair with my wife and easier on my shoulders and joints. So there's less inflammation and less weight to carry around. So those were the things I really benefited from in that activity versus exercise webinar.
Perfect. Thank you. So we want to toss it out to you guys. You guys have any feedback for Wes or anything what he said that stood out to you? By the way, thanks, Wes, for doing that for us. That was great.
Something definitely hit me, Wesley, that I don't think I've ever really thought about before, is when you talked about that analogy of if you want to drive your car to Disneyland, and then can your car perform at that level? And then just in the same way, if you want to go do something, can your body perform and be able to do what you wanted to do, or is it holding you back? And that's really powerful. I think that would hit a lot of people more in the eyes than some other things I've tried to use. And it hits me right in the forehead too. So that was really good. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it was real neat to hear that on the webinar from Craig. He really has a good way with words, and bringing it down to analogies really helps me, or stories.
Definitely. He's a good storyteller. And congrats on your weight loss too, bro. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, and I was just gonna, go ahead.
No, Kim, you're up. Kim and then Daniela.
Okay. I was just gonna hop in and say, I thought you said that you were new to this thing. I thought you did a great job of just summing that up. And so really great to have you here, Wesley. And thanks for bringing that message to all of us.
Well, thanks. I usually go on a rabbit trail. I follow one thought, and I keep following it until I beat it into the ground. So I'm glad you said that.
You were 4 minutes, so you did a great job.
Ah, that was over 3, though, right? You wanted 3?
I gave you a little extra.
Oh, good. Is there a gong? Do you have a gong?
Yeah, I just mute you.
FYI, sitting back in a lazy boy really helps your chin to show up so you can't see the weight loss as well. Next time, I like the way you guys are all sitting at a desk. It's better than sitting in a recliner where you can get the chin action going.
Yeah. It's going away. Daniela, did you have a comment, Daniela?
I did. I appreciated all that Wesley said, because it made me think of something that that has been a struggle for me, and that is that whole analogy about the car and moving, going to Disneyland or whatever, getting that all ready to go. And yet, I think many times when it comes to exercise, we can make excuses. I know I can make excuses. And it made me think about, well, gee, if I were taking my car to Disneyland and I knew it probably needed an oil change before going, I wouldn't be saying I don't have time for the oil change, right? So it just gave me a different picture on that. So thank you, Wesley. Love it.
That's a great little tidbit there. I hadn't even thought of that, about the timing of, I always think about when I don't want to say no to something that I would like to do because I physically can't do it. I might, like if somebody invited me to go on a camping trip or a hiking trip or something, I would want to say no because I had something else planned, or I had another event I had to go to, not because, oh, can you give me 3 months to get in shape? They're going to be like, I miss it. And so if we're able to do the daily habits and make them integrated into our life, then we can be ready to go when the opportunity arrives. And who I can't remember who said this, but it's where Brian Drollinger, it says where opportunity and preparedness meet. That's what he calls luck. Is when you have an opportunity and you're prepared for it, and then you say, oh, I lucked out. I was able to go, someone invited me to do this and I was able to do it, or whatever. So anyway, great stuff. All right. Thanks, Wes, for that. Next up, we've got Kit, and Kit's going to cover the nurse's call. So welcome, Kit Russell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So yesterday on the nurse's call, they talked about a lot of stuff. The woman who was leading it kind of focused on what to do with food, like when you're grocery shopping, when you're cooking, when you're planning.
Who hosted it and what was the date? Do you have those just so we can
August 29th. And then I said it was
Frida, I think.
Yeah, Karen Frida, I think.
Frida Keller. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Now, in terms of food stuff, and my mom, when I was growing up, had gotten better at this, but when you're grocery shopping, before you go into the building, making sure that you've eaten a snack,
whether it's a bar, whether it's, just a healthy snack. Because when you're walking in there and you're hungry, you kind of grab everything that you want at the moment, because it can be anything in the grocery store. And I always bring in water. Like, when I bring my water bottle, I throw out my purse and I bring the whole purse in. My boyfriend's always like, why are you bringing all that stuff? I'm like, I need the water in the building. Like, if I don't have it, then I'm going to want to eat something. And that kind of helps, because usually there are times where your body's going to feel hungry when you're not actually going to be hungry and you're just thirsty. And people are surprised by that all the time. But going in with a prepared list, and when you're making your list, just kind of keeping in mind what you're wanting to do that week in terms of meal planning. I hate eating leftovers. Really, I can only eat it maybe the day after. I just don't like leftovers. So if I'm making food, I'm making something, like if I make it for dinner, I'm making just enough to have lunch the next day. Just because I don't like wasting food, especially like just have whatever. But and that kind of helps with knowing what you're going to be eating, like being prepared, so that when you're out and about and you don't have a bar, but you've packed your lunch with, meat and vegetables or salad or something like that, the lean and greens are definitely going to help you versus going to Chick-fil-A or going to, wherever you can go and get food. Walking into the grocery store with a given amount of time. For example, you've got your list, everything planned out. You gave yourself 20 minutes and you're in and out of there. You will be surprised how less time you actually need to be at the grocery store than the amount of time that you're actually spending just wandering around, looking at the chips, looking at the cookies, just because everything's kind of spread out. It's not like healthy. It's like some healthy, some, and you're just wasting time. And time's precious, and getting in there and getting out with the right amount of foods is really good. Hey, quit digging! Sorry, guys. Good morning. Okay, so another thing which I think is super helpful is, if you guys were to go open your fridge right now, you would tell me that the fridge or the food that's in your fridge was most definitely purchased by you guys, whether it's you or a significant other. You guys are going out and buying the food and putting it in your fridge. With that in mind, it's super important to be going and purchasing healthy food to have in your fridge, whether it's snacks, whether it's stuff to do meals. Because if you open your pantry, you open your cabinets, you open your fridge, if you've only got healthy food, that's really all you're going to be eating. And that, my boyfriend and I struggle with that, because I try to eat a little bit better. He's got a very fast metabolism, so he kind of eats whatever he wants, but it's like pushing him in the right direction of like, we have to have a bag of spinach on hand at all times. Like, we have to have chicken in the freezer. We have to have all this stuff just so that when we are hungry, instead of resulting to eating pizza or something, we are making that healthy choice of, all right, let's get up, let's find something on Pinterest and make a healthy meal. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, so when I was growing up, my mom was sure to kind of get us involved in the meal prep. For example, she'd take over kind of like the main stuff, and then she'd kind of delegate the work, whether it be me cutting vegetables, me setting the table, whatever it would be. There's 4 kids, and so everybody can really be involved in doing something. That way, that when the food's set in front of us, we take pride in being able to help make that food and get that stuff all ready, and that we actually eat it. Because I know that, like, especially with picky eaters, sometimes kids just want chicken nuggets and French fries, and sometimes it's easier just to say yes. And so that's kind of like a good thing, just to be able to delegate the work and kind of keep everybody involved. And that's really it. It was a really good call. They talked about bariatric surgery and stuff like that too. But kind of just getting back down to, if you're prepared, then it's easier to kind of overcome what you're dealing with than if you last minute go out and get something to eat. So
I love the part that you said there, because it's interesting, because if you think of what you have in your kitchen is a small segment of what they have at the grocery store. Yeah. And so if you had the whole grocery store at your house, then you would, you might, who knows what you would eat, right? Yeah. But if you select your grocery store, which is what you have in your kitchen, you're not going to probably go out and get a thing of ice cream just for that one thing. That's really good. Yep. So, anybody else have feedback for Kit or for the rest of us?
Hi.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. So I struggle with this a lot for a couple of reasons. One, I always go grocery shopping with my mom, which is fine. She needs help and that's great. And I am more than happy to help her, except that we spend like 4 hours at the grocery store going up and down every aisle 3 times. It's a lot of fun. The other part of that is that I'm on program, but my husband is not. And so he has hiding places here at the house where there are chips and there are cookies. And I tell him all the time that if he brings them in the house, I will eat them. Especially chips. It's just terrible. So trying to get him on board with that has been a little bit of a challenge. But I really like the analogy of this is your grocery store in your own home. And that's a really cool way to think of it. And so when I go shopping, I'm not going to go to my grocery store, the grocery store, and stock with, microwave popcorn and chips and ice cream, which my husband will. So I think maybe we need to have delegated spaces in the kitchen. This can be yours and this can be mine. And then I don't go to his grocery store and he doesn't touch mine.
Wow.
So, not that I wouldn't share food with my husband. I will, of course. But I think that's a really good way to kind of keep myself in check too. Yesterday was a really hard day and I cheated kind of a lot yesterday. Oops. But I'm back on it again today and I'll make it and we'll be okay. But I think that having delegated spaces in my home, because one person's on program and one person's not, is going to make a big difference for me. I don't know if it would for anybody else. So there's my little tidbit.
Thanks, Angela. Yeah, Wes. Look at that. He raised his hand. I'll unmute you there. Good job. You're unmuted. You're good.
Thanks. I learned how to do that just now. It was a virtual hand, though, in case you guys were wondering. It wasn't my actual hand.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But, Kid, I really enjoyed what you said about, having the grocery store brought to your house, and what you're in control of if people in your family aren't on the program, and same with Angela, because our kids are not, our teenagers are not on the program, and the friends that they bring over are not, but they've had health issues, and whether they're struggling with weight or acne or different things. As a parent, I know that getting them on a lower glycemic diet, eating more often throughout the day, keeping their blood sugar under control will help not only the acne, their weight. So we control the snacks that they get. So we've been using the program, the knowledge we've been getting, to only stock the shelves and the fridge with healthy snacks and alternatives to sodas, like what's that tea? That's sweet tea, but it's low calorie, maybe aspartame, which is probably not good for you, but it's that kind of sweet tea. Options like that we've been putting in the fridge for the kids, so that unbeknownst to them, they're having healthy snacks and they don't even know. They're just, what can I have for a snack? And anyway, they're starting to enjoy healthier snacks as well. My oldest was like, can I have some more of those peppers? And we have those red, green, and yellow peppers that are the small ones, not the giant ones, but the little snack size. And they're like, hey, can I eat more of those? He'll eat like half the bag. And I'm like, there's no more for us. So he's really, when we want to go for a snack, it's all gone because my teenagers will eat it all.
And another thing is just when people say that when you're changing up your nutrition, that when you're trying to make life changes, it's 80% nutrition and 20% physical stuff. With what we're doing with nutrition, you are not just going to be spending more time in the kitchen, but you're going to be spending more time trying to figure out online and on Pinterest and with friends and cookbooks how you can still incorporate that healthy stuff without it being the same repetitive thing all the time. Because like me, I can't eat the same thing over and over. I get super bored really quick. And only have, exactly. You can only have so much. So what can you do differently with that food that's not going to affect your caloric intake or whatever it is that you're watching to still kind of keep things interesting? And, same thing with kids. You got to kind of get them involved and help them pick stuff on Pinterest or, offline or YouTube or whatever.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's really helpful. If my wife's failing, I'm failing because she's cooking. And if she's snacking in front of me, I want to have some of that. Or if I want that glass of wine, or if she's making chocolate cookies, I want a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us being on the same page helps.
Yep. Eileen, you had your hand raised. I just unmuted you.
Okay, so sorry if you hear noise in the background.
No problem.
I'm taking care of my daughter's kids. So anyway, I kind of came in a little late, but how do you deal with that when your spouse, my husband's not here now, but I mean at home, and he's got cookies, M&Ms, all that around you? I have asked him in the past, though, if you can just eat that like in your, somewhere else, not where I am. Because, it's good to know that I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
He's eating something and I want one, and, they say you can't just have one. So how do you deal with that?
Just really funny story really quick. My boyfriend does that with stuff as well. Like even like where we're watching Netflix, and it's a battle to not put your hand in the potato chip bag. And it came down. I remember I texted Linda this after it happened. He was eating like Chips Ahoy or something, Oreos or something. I literally put the cookie in my mouth like this. And then I took it out and I was like, nope, that's not what I want. And you can totally drink water or eat something else. Like if you see somebody eating and you may be hungry, you just got to go snack something else, whether it's, and take shape. I know that we've switched the food around a little bit, but there's stuff that you can kind of munch on. If it's, the time's right and you got something going on, you can totally grab something. I know it's hard.
Well, what's harder, I mean, when you think about the ideas there, and you said it, Kit, is if you are able to get really clear on what you want most versus what you want right now. Because in my experience on planet Earth, I have a lot of things that I want right now. And if I always get them, I never get what I want most. And so, and that's not, I'm not, just because I said that doesn't mean it's true. It's actually true. And that's why I said it, right? You're all nodding your head. And so imagine if you wanted to save up for a new car or a trip to somewhere, but every time you went to the Apple store, you just bought the new little gadget. And so you never actually saved any money. And so then when you'll never get what you wanted most, which was that vacation and those memories to build. And it's the same way with food. I have lots of desires in the moment of things that I want now. But
I know what it is, Craig. It is ultimately sacrificing for a higher goal.
Yeah, you sacrifice for something you want more that you don't want to have to sacrifice. Yeah. Like Wes, he's saying, well, I'm doing these things and I look in the mirror and I'm really liking the results that I'm seeing. I'm really liking, the benefits, and it's far beyond just looks, obviously. But
can I interject?
Sure, of course.
Real quick, the story. So about a week ago, I went into like deep sleep, and it was so real. I could see all the colors and everything. And I dreamt that I just ate everything in sight that was so delicious. And I got as big as a house. I was like so huge. I was like a big, huge balloon. And it was such a nightmare because my daughter asked me, well, what's so, what's the big deal about that? And I says, because all that time, that year I put into myself and losing 30 pounds. And all of a sudden I'm back to where I started. It was a real nightmare when I woke up. It was scary.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. So thank you all for sharing. Thanks, Kit, for that review. Now there's someone here named Lulu, and if I'm not sure that I know who that is. I can't see your face. But if you're a guest, I wanted to say hello and introduce you. Hi, Lulu.
Hey, it's Lauren Parks.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi,
Nice.
I'm driving across the state, so I'm not at all looking at my phone. I'm just listening.
Oh, that's okay.
And it's been going in and out because there's spotty reception, so I keep losing things. But I'm gonna talk to Linda after this and catch up on whatever I missed. But
Okay.
Lulu's my nickname. It's like my nickname on all my different chats, so I had to type something really quick when I was driving, so I just put that in.
Got it. Lulu works. All
You
right.
know me.
Well, enjoy the call. Drive safe.
She was
Thank you,
on
Craig.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah. She just tunes in because she's awesome.
Okay, sweet. All right. Well, that's going to conclude our the TSFL University segment. I want to share a couple. I want to transition to just some informational things and some things I'm really excited about. I'm going to share my screen. Before I do that, though, we do for many of you on our team here know about the health challenges or the health games or these different things that we've done online because we were part of the evolution, the creation of it years ago. I think we've been doing challenges for maybe 3 years or something. Who remembers the days when we were handing around spreadsheets and all that stuff? It's so much better, folks. Like it's actual content. It's actually a game now versus just read it. In the past, the only way you could get points, I think, were education points were for reading a chapter in the Habits of Health book or something like that. I mean, it's so much better. And we had to manually calculate all of our points. Oh, so painful. So the health games, we have the fall health games. And so one of the things that I was thinking about, we have a lot of different perspectives on what the health games are, what the health challenges are. And what I find, and so this is going to be a little bit of coach. Some of you guys are thinking, I know Wes is considering, he's flirting around with the idea of coaching some folks, loving it right now as a client. But one of the big things that I see is with the health challenges or the health games, we can provide an amazing habits of health training tool. And I know every one of us here is still working on mastering the habits of health. Not one of us is as healthy as we want to be, and we're all working on it and getting closer, many of us, right? And so the habits of health or the health games, I think they're called, it's the Fall Health Challenge. I think that is a way to learn with a variety of learning styles. Some people like to learn by reading. Some people learn through movies and videos. Some people like read by getting points. There's a lot of different ways that you can learn. And folks that want to keep their weight off and actually establish a healthy lifestyle that only eat the 5-in-1 food are never, if that's all they do, they're never going to establish health in their life. And so some people just will never read the Habits of Health book. So the Health Games is 6 weeks of daily micro trainings, little lessons as you go throughout 6 weeks. And by the end of 6 weeks, you actually have learned a lot of things, and you've probably practiced some of those things. So the first thing I love about the health games and the Fall Health Challenge is that it's a great way to refine and renew and sometimes learn new some healthy habits. The second thing about the health games is it's a great way for us to introduce people into our community, this well-being, optimal well-being community where Wes, this is the first time. Wes's only experience with Take Shape for Life is me. But now he just got to meet all you. His sphere of influence and community grew 15 times today, right? So now he knows there's other crazy people out here that are doing the same thing. And so with the health games, you can actually invite people to join and you get points for it. So I'm just going to give you just a little overview of what the health games looks like. When you log in, this is what it looks like. And so if you're on the team right now, we have 1,100 people and $22,000 in prize money available. And then the only thing you can do now, because it doesn't start till the 12th, the only way that you can actually earn points right now is like if you earn healthy points right now. So if we click on that, it says, well, the only thing you can do is invite somebody. Okay, so let's invite somebody. So we click on invite, and this is a really neat screen here. I've got a special link. So once you're on our team, right, this link will change, and it'll be customized to you. And so when you send this link out to people through a chat, or Facebook message, or whatever, when they join, the system will know that you invited them, and so they'll connect you two together. Well, that's really cool if you're inviting people to our team and you want the system to know that that's your friend, that that's the person that you invited. And that's really well, because when we're obviously we're health coaches, we have a business, and it's really good to be able to know who invited them and who's responsible and who's going to take care of them. And so you can also go over here and you can select a template. They have some different templates here, and I usually use anyone or friends, and then you type in their name, whatever, John Doe, and then you put in their email, right? And then you hit send, and it's going to send them an invitation, and you'll get points if you invite them through here. You'll get 10 points per day. And then here's this new thing, share to Facebook. I can click on any one of these little links here. So YOLO, I did that one yesterday. So I'm actually going to do it right now. That one looks like a nice one for today. I click share to invite, share invite to Facebook. And let me reshare my window here so you see what popped up. And then I click on this and I said, getting closer. Hope to have a full team. Will you be a part? I'm just making this up on the run. Will you be joining, JOINING, joining us? And then if I click post to Facebook, then it's going to go post out to Facebook. Now, the neat thing about that is when you go to the Facebook, it shows that graphic. When they click on that graphic, my link is already connected to that graphic. So it's a pretty cool little deal where they automatically join my team if they click my little graphic. And so these are the different ways that you can create your own invitation template. You can actually go down here and re-invite people from past challenges as well. So this is the big thing that we're doing right now, invitation points. Once we're in, so let's go look at our team. So I'm going to go to Team Room, and I posted a thing here. The challenge was to invite 5 people who you know to join our team. This is a goal I've set, and let's see how much we can do that, right? So Barbara Cleary, she's on our team, and she said, I'm all over it, right? And then so down here we've got Amy Brinkman. She's actually a health coach. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to change her so she has health coach privileges. And everybody else is, well, Tim's a health coach. Tim and Barbara. There we go. And save settings, right? So now these guys are going to have a little more privileges. Now let me show you a little bit about when you're a health coach, because many of you are, and if you join our team, there's this really cool feature on the backside, and it's called View Team Members right here. And you click on that, and then you can go in and you can see information about the different people that are in here. And when they've completed surveys, they give us additional information about themselves. And so if you invited them, so, it shows you who invited them. So Bobby Cipher was invited by Don Carpenter. Christine May, Stacy Anderson, right? Debbie Luntz doesn't say anybody. Jenny, so some of them don't say anybody. Joyce, that was Barbara. And so what you can do is you can go click on these little surveys, which there are none yet, and you can get additional information about them to follow up and start conversations. Basically, they're saying, hey, I'm interested in this thing, or hey, I answered this question this way. And so when you go through and work the challenge, when we talk about working a challenge, this is what it means to work a challenge. Now, if you're not a health coach, you can't see this screen. So that's why I go in and I make sure I change the people so it shows that they're health coaches, because then they can have access to all this information. And so go in here and read your surveys and call people and follow up with them. Now, here's one of the benefits of being on my team specifically is everybody that's on our team is either a coach or a client or a referral of a coach or a client. So it's all within our sphere of influence. And so as the team captain or team leader, I invite everybody to have a meeting with me, pre-challenge meeting. So let's just imagine that I was a coach and we were going to have a basketball season that was about to start. Well, I would want to get to know all of my team players and say, what kind of skills do you want to build this basketball season? And then midway through, I'm going to do a skills check. How's your skills? You wanted to learn how to hit the three-pointer. How are you doing on hitting your three-pointer? So I connect with them once at the beginning, once at the middle, and hopefully once at the end to see how you did. Well, imagine if one of the people you invited was not a client and they're getting some information about the health games, they're getting information about the habits of health, and they're starting to they decided to do Jenny Craig, right? Or they decided to do Weight Watchers, right? So I have the conversation at the beginning and I ask them what their plan is, how much weight they want to lose, different goals they set. And then they said they need to lose 15 pounds and they're going to use Weight Watchers. I'm like, hey, okay, great. Sounds good. Now we have a couple of programs that we feel strongly about that work really good. Would you like more information about those? I'll let them, yes or no, whatever. So then at the halfway point, I'm going to say, now your goal was 15 pounds. How are you doing? I've lost 2 or I've gained 2 or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. How you feeling about that? Horrible, probably, right? Would you like to know about some of our other options? People are getting really good results. So then I can share with them about some tools that will actually help them. I'm not trying to sell them a program. I'm trying to help them meet their goal that they told me it was their goal. And then, so a lot of times people will actually start using tools that are very effective, unlike some tools they may have tried or are trying that aren't as effective. And hopefully they'll get into this idea that this is not a program, but this is really a lifestyle change process that's for reals. We're playing for keeps here. So that's a little bit about the challenge. I caught a couple of people that raised their hand. Eileen, you're up first. Go ahead. Here, I'll unmute you. There you go.
I don't remember raising my hand.
Oh, okay. No worries. Great. Linda Benson, you're up. I unmuted you. Right as you put some in your mouth, right?
Sorry, I'm eating an apple. Which page was it? And someone might have answered. Where you had all those banners where you can share that to your Facebook and it has your link to it.
I'm glad you went ahead and asked that again because sometimes I go a little bit fast. So we're going to go back to the very first page. So when you first log in, you're here.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And then actually you're not there. Let me just log out and log back in. So this is what it looks like when you first go to the page, Meltdown Challenge. You click on log in. You log in, it takes you here.
Okay.
So you see this thing that says invite?
Yeah.
Click that.
Okay.
This is where all the magic happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing you can do now to get points. Now, once you're in the challenge, once the challenge starts, then you'll get daily water points, daily, there's sleep points, there's watch the video. We have, a bunch of those little sketch videos that we did specifically for this challenge. And once a week, we're going to have a healthy huddle up and that'll be Tuesdays, I think at 5:30. And David Bush and I will be doing a lot of those. So, yep. All right. So that's just a little bit about the health games. Now I did, there was on the Optimal Health Coach page. I'm just going to show you guys that page here. So Facebook, and you go to the Optimal Health Coach page. So for when you become a coach, we put you into this. This is our team page, And so right here it says, join me in the 6-week challenge, right? And then, are you ready for a change? So if you click on that, it's going to take you, into the challenge. That's great. There is a little video that I posted that talks about what the health games are all about. Where is that? Right here. And so this is an overview of the Health Games Challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this to the top so that you guys can find it easily. And you can watch this, and it'll tell you a little bit about, how the program works and how the challenge works and what's new. And there's a link here that's called Challenge Coach Tools. And this is some little tools. Look at how cool this is. You want to go challenge details, contest info, the coach join link if you want to have your own team. So you wouldn't click that if you want to be on my team. Marketing tools, scholarship, videos. Let's look at the marketing tools just for example. Look at this. You got a logo here, testimonial pics, banner ads. So it's basically spoon-fed to you all these amazing resources to use this to market your health coaching practice and to build a team around health. So that's why I love this. The challenges have gotten, imagine when we started back in the handing around, spreadsheets, and now we have all this robust resources. So I would say join my team and invite some people, print out, there's some postcards you can print out. You can hand to complete strangers. One of the things that I did that works really well is when someone joins, I've posted on Facebook, somebody joins, I go follow up with them and say, hey, can you post the invitation link to your own Facebook page and see who will join? Let's try to get 5 people that to join us, because who can answer this question? What would be the value of one of your clients inviting 5 people that aren't clients to the challenge? What would be the benefit for them personally? Who wants to answer that?
I will.
Yeah.
The benefit to them is they get to begin building their own community of health with the support of this community to help them do that together.
Yep. Exactly it. Maybe all 5 of their friends are reasonably healthy. Maybe they're not very healthy. Who knows? But one thing they have in common is each other. And so if all of them are in the same challenge, learning the same things, do you think that's going to make a difference when they go to the movies or when they go hang out? Of course it will. And that's the difference that makes the difference. So inviting people that around you to join the challenge is far more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Just like that was a Star Wars quote, wasn't that? I think it was. Yeah. If you strike me down now. Go ahead, Jim. Or no, who's going to go? Okay. Anyhow, so that's how the health games work. Now, the next thing that we have coming up is something called National Optimal Health Day, right? And so if you go to TSFL Coach Connection, you see the graphics here. And so this is the 4th annual National Optimal Health Day. And this is a little bit of information about it. You need to register an event, but basically here's what this is going to look like. This is a small, making the big community of health small. So what I did last year is I printed off some of these little things. I'll show you some of these little things you can print off. Here's the graphic that they have for us. Right? So you've got a little graphic that you can print out. You've got Facebook cover photos, join us, right? Simple stuff like that. Twitter, shareable graphics, right? And here's an invitation flyer, right? So you can go and you can send them this little invitation flyer, take it around. So I printed some of these up and I went around to the folks in my neighborhood and I said, hey, here's what we're doing. I want to do something fun and healthy for the neighborhood. A lot of us don't really know each other. No, I've lived here for 2.5 years. Nobody's come and said, hey, we're going to have a block party. No one's never done it. We don't do that in America, right? So I went around to all of my neighbors. I didn't go somewhere else. I went to my next door neighbor. Well, we did. I said, here's what's going to happen on this date. It's a Saturday. We're going to all show up at my house around 5, and we're going to go for a neighborhood walk. We're going to walk for a mile through the neighborhood. Then we're going to come back and we're going to share some healthy snacks and just spend a little time getting to know our neighbors. And we had about 20 people show up. And we did just that. We went for a walk. People brought their dogs. We had this whole kind of movement through our neighborhood. We came back here. I had some healthy snacks. We had a couple we talked about health, because obviously it was a health-themed get-together. A couple people shared, some of the recent successes that they've had. We thanked everybody for coming. I think I had them fill out a little survey, a health questionnaire about just to give people something to think about. And then one of the people said, man, I'd love to do this once a week. And I was like, well, why don't you organize it? Nothing's happened. But the thing is that I didn't do a Take Shape for Life presentation telling them all about how our program works. I was just building community around my community, like my neighborhood. And then what it's done is when I see Curtis, when he goes and gets his mail every day, I know a little bit about him and he knows a little bit about me. You think he's going to come to the Optimal Health Day this year? You bet he will, right? So, and that's been a year, and none of my neighbors have become clients, but it's my neighbors. I know them. I'm not trying to get clients. I'm trying to be a good neighbor and do something that's just good for us all. I think Curtis will become a client. I think some of my neighbors will become, but it's not about, that wasn't what I was doing it for. I was trying to build community with people. So any comments, did any of you guys do the National Optimal Health Day last year? And do you have some comments about what you did and how it went? Who would like to go? Who did one last year? Nobody.
No, I did.
Daniela, tell me about your event. Yeah.
We just had here at the clinic, I learned a lot about what to do better. So I'm really excited about that. And, but, we had just, I don't know, maybe 15 people that came. So it wasn't huge. But still, we had some really great conversation around health. We had some people that were patients, some people that we've never seen before. And so that was neat just to have conversation with those folks about health in general and what their goals were. And some of them have been back, some of them haven't. But basically, we just got together and had a little get to know us conversation. We had a couple people there that were in fact clients and had done really well, and they shared just their story of transformation, not really program, but just what has changed for them. And people really enjoyed hearing that. We had some healthy breakfast kind of snack stuff around because we did it early. And then we showed, because I think last year was the year that it was done over internet, right? And we showed
Dr. A, same with this year. There's going to be Dr. A talking about optimal health in a webinar, a webcast, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but this year it's going to be easier to access because everyone can just look at their own phone, but we can all be together even. Or we can play it up on a screen. So it kind of depends on what's happening. This year, I'm just kind of starting to get it together after the exciting Synduit conversation last night. But this year, I'm actually hoping to make it a bigger event and invite some other people that are vested in helping people get healthy to come together with us. So
awesome. Yeah, and literally, even if you had just 3 or 4 people, imagine 3 or 4 of your neighbors came over and went for a walk and you hung out. How cool. What if everybody just did 3 or 4 of their neighbors? What if every neighborhood had that happen? Would that do something good for America? I think it would. I think it'd do something powerful. So yeah, and I didn't play the video last year. I didn't want to deal with the technology of it. I wanted to just have our little chit chat here, and so that's what we did. You know, so there, you can do a lot of things. Just are you going to do something, and are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to team up? And I know that Linda and Kit teamed up last year and did something together. Do you have any feedback on that, Linda? It's okay if you don't, but oh, what's that? Go ahead.
Oh, it just similar to what Daniela said. Ours was pretty small, and I think some of that's just I'm not as good at putting those kind of things on because I get overwhelmed very easily. I'm not an event planner. I'd rather have someone else do it, but I love hosting. So, but we had a couple people over, and I actually liked the fact that we had a video because it took pressure off of me having to find something to say. But I could invite people who didn't live in this state as well. So it was cool. I just had coffee, and we had some healthy snacks, and some of the coaches came with some of their people, and they just loved. They'd never even heard Dr. A talk. So for them, it was exposure to what else was there. Cool. So it was good. It was fun.
Kim, go ahead, Kim.
Well, I think just having this conversation is really good because I think similar to Linda, I can get overwhelmed with the planning of it and how to, there's lots of steps to it, inviting people and everything. And I think sometimes when you look at a big picture and you feel overwhelmed, you can isn't it true with our health too? You can get so overwhelmed that you don't do anything. And I think I appreciate your example, Craig, because what you did moved people, made health more visible, did something. It did something, whether that got people thinking about health or thinking, I could incorporate this recipe or that, and I think there's so many possibilities. I think the conversation is so valuable because, I appreciated what was on the leadership call a couple weeks ago, doing a big event, that would be awesome. That would be cool to be a part of, maybe if there was a few coaches to join together. But then not to lose sight of, even if it's just a few people and you go for a walk, that could change lives. And so I think, I've been sitting here with obstacle after obstacle with Optimal Health Day in mind. I have a wedding to go to. I've got a lot of sporting events. So rather than, use that as an excuse, I'm going to be trying to look for ways to spread health. So it doesn't need to be necessarily on September 17th. It doesn't, and so why am I not doing this, celebrate your own health day or as far as presentation goes, I think there's something inviting people to, like you said, to community and finding out, well, why are you here? Why is health important to you? What are you challenged by? Because maybe they would really be excited about hearing Dr. A speak. Maybe they're not even in that ballpark right now. And so just learning and engaging with people give us information to say, okay, that's the person I'm going to invite to the next Dr. A thing. And, I'm going to see if I can go on a walk just with this one person or, I guess, yeah. So I think that was just getting these ideas flowing is kind of what I needed. So.
Well, and for me, what if we didn't make it about us? I mean, let that sink in. When we're having a party, let's say you're having a birthday party, it's for the person that you're having the birthday party with, right? And so you don't make, because it's a lot of work to have a birthday party, but you do it because it's not about you. Well, imagine if you never, Wes, imagine if I didn't reconnect with you and you were 9 pounds heavier and your wife was however many pounds heavier and you were doing just imagine before that time. And I was just really connecting with you because I like you, right? I wasn't sure that, I had no idea what you do, but if you wanted more health, I knew that I had things to offer. And friendship was the first thing, And so imagine if we didn't make this about us. Imagine if we made this about, I always want to remind myself oh man, makes me a little bit emotional, but I just want to share this picture with you. I have different fat pictures that I share once in a while, but so that's me there in the gray shirt. You think I felt super excited about that time in my life? I mean, that was at Wheelchair Sports Camp, which is one of my favorite places on planet Earth, but I was pretty chunky, right? And I think back to myself back before 6 years ago, right? And I think how grateful I am now. And so think about yourself, about what life was like before you knew the hope that we have in this community, in this process, in this program. And think about you then, and put yourself in your neighbor's shoes. I know Curtis across the street is not as healthy as he want to be. He's only gotten bigger over the last year. And so if I put myself in his shoes and I say, maybe I can just get to know him, and we'll see, and maybe he wants some help, maybe he doesn't, but Curtis is important. He's my neighbor. What if we just did that and we just let it go? Now, if I went over to Curtis's house wanting to become healthier, he might not have much to offer. But you know what? He's got a sweet set of tools, and I borrow them all the time, right? He's my tool guy. He's got amazing tools. And so I found that out about Curtis, and now I have a link to him when I need some technical or some mechanical help. He's my guy. Well, what if I was his resource for health? He just knew when he had a health issue, Craig was the guy. Right? How would he know that unless we get to know each other? So anyway, just a couple little thoughts there. I wanted to share, just as we're closing, we've gone a little long today. This last month, August is usually a month where people get, I don't know what it is, but there's some numbers that represent people's lives changing. And our record in our team was 401,000. That was the highest volume out of all the coaches. So if you take that number, 401, and I'm just going to do the quick math here, we can see that. Let's see. I'm going to represent this into lives change. 401,000 divided by 300, because that's roughly what a 1 month program costs. That's 1,336 people's lives that are in this process, that are learning the habits of health, that are doing something, right? So we went from 401 to 425 last month. So we take 425,000 and we divide that by 300. That's 1,416. So we had a record month for people's lives changing, which a way to quantify that is it was the biggest volume month ever. So from 401 to 425, pretty crazy, pretty awesome. I know I helped 4 new people last month. I know many of you helped some people as well. And so together we made a difference in some lives. And that's really what we're all about. That's what we're doing here. And so anybody, just as we're closing here, any comments that you wanted to leave or share with us? Otherwise, we'll button her up and we'll see you again next week. Linda, did you have something? You looked like you about had something.
Well, I was going to ask, does that include Alex and the Preston Box team?
Everybody. That's the entire team. Everybody.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
And then I always love hearing people share, and because I always learn from other people's experiences. So it's always fun when Kim pops up and says something, or it's just good. I love it. It's nice, Craig, that that we're not all quiet. Like, people will share and they've got valuable things to add, so just good.
Well, I call it a multiplication factor. When I'm reading a book and learning for myself, I have a multiplication factor of 1, right? When I'm here with 21 people, I have a multiplication factor potential of 21 times, right? And so that's why we do Take Shape for Life University. I haven't heard of another team doing that. But it's like, well, why couldn't we all just listen to the calls ourselves? Well, because then our multiplication factor is only 1. But when Wes listened to it and shared it with us, we had a multiplication factor that went way up. And then everybody that commented on it, now all of a sudden I had another additional little piece. And I'm trying to get this stuck. I'm trying to get it really in here, right? For reals, because everything I learn in this program affects my health. And I live in here, right? This is where I live all day long. And so the more we can do to actually live this way, the better we're all going to be. And so that's why I love doing this. I love having people come on. You know, think about it. Wes has been on the program for a month, and that was his first. And this happens all the time. Last week, Ken had never listened to any of our support calls, and John asked him to cover one of the calls. Well, Ken did. Now Ken was exposed to this new way of learning that's always been there. Well, Wes, he's read some of the book, but he hasn't got into the podcast yet. Well, I said, Wes, can you help me out? Of course, Wes said yes. Now he has exposure to this other resource that's available for him anytime he wants it. And so these are different ways, they're strategies that I use to help people find the things that they need that they don't see yet. So reason why I'm giving you the behind the scenes strategy is because you can take my strategy and use it yourself. So who are you going to invite? Find somebody that's never listened to a call that you really like and say, can you help me out? And tell me about it and we'll have them host. Right? I've had complete strangers that aren't even clients come on and host a call before. And they were like, sure, that sounds fun. Most people actually, I probably have about 50-50 when I ask a complete stranger, hey, I've got this thing I need to do on Friday. It's to listen to a little bit of information and give us some feedback on it. We have a cool group of coaches that are always looking for fresh perspectives. Would you be willing to do that? And they're like, yeah, that sounds fun. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, I sure enjoy you. As always, for those of you that are listening to this on podcast, you can join us live. For those of you, 9 a.m. on Fridays. For those of you that are actually here live, you can actually go to iTunes and you can search for Team Blanchette, and you can find this podcast audio only. And of course, I have a Vimeo channel and a YouTube channel where you can watch the whole video. So you can subscribe to all those. And if you can't make it, you can always watch the recording. And you can go back and watch previous ones as well. So, all right, well, that's going to conclude our time today. Nice to see you all. And I'll see you guys next time around. Take care.